Once again, we've got another great show this week with UFC 329. Conor McGregor's return. The Irishman is stepping back inside that cage. For the first time in 5 years, I'm joined by my man, J-Mo. J-Mo making his appearance right now. Drop down and give me 50, my man. Damn, let's do it. What's up, big dog? How you doing, man?
What's going on, man? Well, I'm doing better, man. The U.S. soccer left me a little frustrated, a little embarrassed with the way they played. I've been watching the World Cup. I know, man. It just, look, I enjoy soccer. I enjoy the World Cup, and obviously didn't have any kind of delusions that they were going to win the thing or anything, but just the way they went out of the tournament, man, that was rough to watch. That was a little bit frustrating. But now we get UFC back and we get Conor McGregor back, which man, felt like words we might never say for a long time. And finally, it's here, baby.
I got to be honest. I think for Conor's sake and the UFC's sake, it might have saved them the fact that the US is out. Because, like, the US would have got all the attention. The furthest they'd ever made it, all of these. Like, it would have been huge had they got the win. Like, I thought they had a really good chance of winning last night's game.
Right.
I thought when they got into like playing Spain, I'm like, Spain just plays such a detailed game. They're so smooth. They don't rush things. That they play off the back wall. They're very coordinated on how they make their attacks. The UFC is young, probably a little impatient, and Spain will exploit that. I was leaning more towards Spain, but I obviously want the US to win. But Belgium, though, played a great game last night. We couldn't get it together. We made, the goalie made a major mistake when the game was 2-1, and that kind of made them feel like they were out of it. And then the last goal, I just looked at it as a desperation goal. Basically, they were trying too hard and just just made a mistake. But yeah, it happens, man.
It is. Like I said, that's about as far as we could have gone. But I was like you. I thought maybe they had a chance against Belgium, and then they'd probably be out in the next round. But even if they'd have just gone down swinging, right? Like, even if it was a great fight and you come up short in a great fight, you go, well, hey, man, at least it was amazing. But it wasn't a great fight. It was a bad performance, man. That was frustrating. But I hadn't really thought about it. But you are right. This is good for the UFC and for Conor McGregor, right? Because not that soccer is the most popular sport in America the way it is in the rest of the world, but some of these numbers on these games have been really big. I mean, they're doing like record ratings and, it's really getting a lot of attention. So you're right. It really would have taken a lot of media attention. So I'm sure the UFC, they were just fine with the way things turned out with both the U.S. and Mexico, by the way, going out as well.
Canada gone too. All the hosting countries are gone. They all lost in the round of 16, which, I mean, to be honest, it's pretty common for those, and not Mexico. Mexico, I think, has been in one round, for 2 rounds, they've been further. But for us, this is the furthest we've ever been. We tied the furthest we've ever been, I should say.
Did you see, by the way, and I know we'll get to MMA. I know people don't want to sit here and talk about soccer, but it is the World Cup, so give us a few minutes. Did you see earlier today, Argentina down to Egypt 2-0 with 13 minutes to play, and they come back and scored 3? That was insane.
11 minutes left to play. 79th minute, they score a goal. Then they come in at the 83rd or 84th minute, they score another one, and at the 89th minute, whatever, they score the third goal to go ahead. Insane, with a beautiful header in the far right corner across the goal. People don't realize I played semi-pro soccer right out of high school for a year. Let me just tell you, you don't realize how good these guys are. They are so good, and man, it's nuts. It's very nuts.
I see Idaho Broncos saying he's surprised that I'm being a soccer nerd, but listen, soccer, I'll be honest with you, it's probably my second favorite sport, man. And I get why people don't like it, all the low scores, but if you get into the emotion of the game, I've always thought, like, because there's so few scoring, it makes those moments so much more stuff. Yeah. It's like a knockout. It's like a submission. It's not just running back and forth and 2 points, 3 points, two. Like, nothing matters until the final few minutes of the fourth quarter. It's like every moment matters, man. So I love soccer. I don't get to watch a ton of it because obviously my weekends are consumed by mixed martial arts. But during the World Cup, come on, man. You got it on every day. You got to slow down a little bit. At least throw it on in the background.
Yeah, I mean, you got a game going on, I believe, right now, right? Colombia and Switzerland, I think, is on right now or coming up, I think, at 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
No, they're on right now. They were in extra time when we joined, so I think they might be going towards penalties. So it's getting close.
That's a rough way to lose and to move on, right? Like you went out, you've played that extra time in the overtime, and then you've also now gone to shootout. So emotional, a huge emotional roller coaster. Man, it's tough. It's very, very tough to play that way. But look, I know that the way that the US went out is not the way we would have wanted them to go out. But I got to be honest, man. I found the applause button, by the way. So I just want to like, I think as Americans, we're very happy with how this World Cup panned out. I know we would love to see them move on. I know all those things, but I got to be honest. What the thing that impressed me the most about this World Cup and that gave me the most satisfaction was all of the other people from around the world coming here and saying positive things about our country.
Yeah, it did. It felt good, man. It felt good. I know that we're not always the most popular country across the face of the planet, but for people to come over and be like, man, obviously the world-class facilities that they got to host games and, seeing places like SoFi, seeing the Dallas Stadium, which is unbelievable, so seeing that, but then not just the facilities, but also like, oh man, and the people were so cool and the food was amazing and the hospitality and like, I don't know, man, seeing that as an American, look, I'm proud, I'm proud to live here. I'm proud to be from here, but I know that sometimes we're not exactly the most popular country in the world. So I agree with you, man. I love seeing those messages on social media. It made me feel good.
When you see Erling Haaland and he's just eating a hot dog with cowboy boots and cowboy hat on, just not giving two shits what anyone thinks of him, I was like, this is awesome.
He was like, give me a snakeskin hat. They're like, bro, we don't have snakeskin hats.
They give us a reason to make some. Give us a reason to make some. If that's what he wants, then we should be out there trying to make it.
I agree.
Look, I loved it, man. I like the fact that the number one thing that was bought in our country while this was going on was a cowboy hat. Made me feel good. You're from Texas.
Amazing.
You're from Plano, Texas, man. So you know this. And
absolutely.
Myself living here now in Texas and knowing that, I don't see a lot of cowboy hats around.
No,
they're more brought out for special occasions. Someone goes out, they take their wife out to dinner and they dress suited and booted, right? Like you don't really see them a lot.
I mean, if you get over to Fort Worth though, now you start seeing some cowboy hats over
you
there.
Will. You'll start seeing them around a little bit over that way. I live in North Texas, so I'm like in that above Plano area. It's like real relaxed and chill. We got more families and stuff up here.
It's where all the wealthy people are, Josh. You don't have to hold back. You can say it. It's the high. It's where the high. You live among all the high dollar area.
I mean, I don't want to brag or anything, but Dak Prescott's my neighbor down the road a little bit. Deion Sanders' old house was literally like, I kid you not, like maybe a 2-minute drive.
Josh tries to keep it humble, but let's be honest. I know where he lives. He did pretty good with some investments over the years.
I did okay. We're working on it, man. We're working on it. By the way, we got Dean Thomas and Alan Jobon have joined the show, and Dean Thomas is sounds like he'll be joining the show a lot more often, so that'll be fun. I'm gonna try to I'm gonna try to put together the two of them tomorrow to get their opinions on this fight breakdown and what we're looking to see from Conor, as well as not just that, but Paddy Pimblett. Huge fight for Paddy. I think when you look at the odds in the Paddy Pimblett and BSD fight, that's a very close fight. A lot of people not knowing which way it's going to go, who's going to wrestle first, who's going to get the takedown first. Will they try to stand at all? Like, who has the better stand? There's so many people talking about that fight. More so, I would even say, not more so than the Conor return, but more so than talking about Conor fighting Max. Like, people are mainly talking about Conor's return. And as much as we all love Max, right? Max is kind of, he's been the great guy. He's the guy that has been, I don't want to say company guy in a bad way, but he has stepped up on every occasion to fight whoever. Remember when he tried to fight Habib and he was like, couldn't make the weight because it was like on a couple hours notice or a couple days notice. It was one of those things. But Max has always been that guy. He has kind of taken a little step back and he's done the media he's supposed to done, but everyone keeps talking about Conor's return. How do you see this return happening? And what do you expect to see out of him differently for Conor McGregor?
Oh, that's the big question, right? I mean, at 170 pounds, obviously he had success in the little bit of time that we saw him there, but we're talking years and years ago, right? I mean, so how can he still be as sharp as he was after this much time away? It just seems like an actual impossibility. So, I mean, I'm expecting for at least a few minutes. I'm expecting in the opening round him to be incredibly dangerous. Like some of the stuff that he is just God-given. And obviously it's techniques and talents that he honed for years and years and years. So it doesn't all completely just go away. It's not as if he's going to come in there and look like he's an absolute newcomer. But I mean, that much time away from, actual game speed. And honestly, not even like he was in the gym the whole time. It'd be one thing if you're like, well, yes, he didn't fight for 5 years, but he never left the gym. He was sparring every week. He was helping the up and comers. He was teaching. It wasn't even that. You know what I mean? He was out. And so I'm expecting him to be dangerous early, and I'm expecting Max to know that, and I'm expecting Max to be cautious early. I think Max realizes he can't just go out there and point down to the center of the canvas in the opening 30 seconds. He's got to be cautious. But as time wears on, I just don't see, and again, I'll leave with the caveat that it is Conor McGregor, and this dude just does the most insane stuff, but I just don't see how he can be that good over time, given all the time that he has away. So I'm expecting him to be dangerous early, and I'm expecting him to fade as the fight wears on.
I would say probably the greatest athlete of all time was probably Michael Jordan. I know people want to say Tom Brady, but dude, you're a quarterback. Calm down. Okay? Like there's
wait, that's pretty athletic.
They shaped the rules around him not having to move in the pocket. If you touch my knees, can't touch, it's a flag. Like, come on. Smart, yes. Game IQ, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
But I look at the greatest athlete who's achieved the most, I would say it's probably Michael Jordan. That guy went away for what, 2 years?
Right.
Comes back, in the playoffs. So 18 months he was gone or something like that. Comes back in the playoffs, had to knock the ring rust off. 45 ain't 23. Remember that comment that revived him? Came back, put the 23 jersey on. All of a sudden he's revived. It's going to take something like that.
Yep.
Conor McGregor is not that first couple games that Jordan had being the greatest out, and he still played baseball. He was still out golfing fucking 36 holes. He was still very active. He wasn't doing the extracurriculars that Conor McGregor was doing.
Right.
And so I look at Conor, I think, is it better for the sport if he wins? Probably.
Yeah.
Does he have a chance? He's got a puncher's chance. But overall, we have to also take a deep dive into that leg break. Take a look at the guys that have what was the 45-pounder that broke his leg? Corey
Hill?
Corey Hill. Was it Corey Hill? Yeah, he was the very first guy to break his leg that way.
Though, right? Well,
was he 55? I thought he was 45. Could have been 55.
It's been a while.
6'3", though. 6'3", 6'4", Corey Hill. Him, and then you have, Anderson Silva, and then you have Chris Weidman.
Right.
They were never the same after that. I would say anybody did Corey Hill die?
Yeah, he did.
Someone said he died from an infection in his leg.
No, I don't think that's true. I don't believe that's why, but he did. He is gone.
Damn. You cut me deep, Shrek. You cut me real deep. That was rough.
Sudden pneumonia. It was an infection. It wasn't an infection of his leg. It was an illness, collapsed lung, and a subsequent heart attack.
Wow.
Yeah.
Give him a moment of silence. Corey Hill. Man, I mean, and he was very hard to deal with because he was so tall and long and lanky and had fast hands and he could move and all those things. But those guys they didn't have great comebacks. After that, their careers kind of, I wouldn't say torpedo, but just fell off. And I would say Anderson, obviously, he fought more. He had some relevant fights after he lost to Chris Weidman and after he broke his leg and all those things. And I think he's still fucking fighting, which is wild to me. But but he, those guys were never the same. And to think that Conor's going to come back and have the same lateral movement, he's going to have the ability to kick the way he used to kick. None of that's true. None of that is true.
Well, and you think about what made Conor so good, right? It wasn't just like sheer overwhelming force. It was the timing. It was the rhythm. It was the mastery of space. All those things that come with repetition and from just going at full speed. It's those guys that spar every day that are in there moving and they have the timing and the movement down. And he was special. So I just think those are things that are going to go away when you don't have the repetition and that you haven't had here. So to me, it just, again, and we talked about it a little bit last week, but I'll stand by this. It's just everything in my head tells me that what Conor McGregor is trying to do here is absolutely impossible. And then he's going to go out and he's going to lose to Max Holloway. But when you talk about somebody special like Michael Jordan, Conor McGregor is special. I mean, what he did, there are people, it's wild, but there's a lot of people that are new to the sport that probably don't remember or didn't witness it. Maybe they saw the documentary or maybe they've seen the clips. But man, unless you lived it, it was weird. Like the Mystic Max stuff, it was like he was just all-knowing, all-seeing, operating on a different level. The first man to break Jose Aldo mentally, to get into Eddie Alvarez's head. I mean, this guy was a master of mental warfare, and what he did in the cage was spectacular. So if there is a Michael Jordan-esque person in our sport, it might be Conor McGregor because he just the things he could accomplish in the pressure, in the spotlight, in the moment, the flu game or whatever in the playoffs when you're sick and you can still deliver. It would be Conor McGregor. So I don't think you can go into this fight this weekend and just be like, guys, Conor has no chance. Like, Conor is special, but everything about this fight tells me this is not his fight to win.
Yeah. I would like to sit here and try to pitch it to you guys some other way and be like, yeah, it's for the greater good of the sport. All these things. He still has to win the fight.
Yeah.
And Max Holloway, just his ability to have such a high output in punches. Conor has a tendency to slow down. I think if Max is smart, to be honest, if Max is smart, he comes out and he tries to wrestle the first round.
Agreed.
Just slow him down, make him burn energy, realize you're taking some pop off of his punch. And then I think Conor just becomes target practice in round 2 and 3. He may be able to last longer than round 2. Who knows? Look, he's been away. He went away for a little bit, came back, and seems to be on this mission. His media stuff, all of his Instagram stuff, all of his social media, he's been silent on all of it. He seems like he's been dialed in and focused. And from what I understand, he arrived into Vegas. People were saying, "Oh, he hasn't come yet. This and that. He's trying to avoid all these things." From what I understand, I heard he's in Vegas already. And so, do you know this?
No, I heard he was in, I thought Southern California for a while, but he's made it out today. I'm a little out. I'll be honest. I unplugged for a couple days this past weekend. Had a little staycation over the 4th of July. Hung out with the family, so I'm catching back up.
You don't understand what I'm saying, but like it's one of those things where him staying so dialed in, not wanting to come into Vegas, knowing that there are a lot of distractions in Vegas. He became a superstar in Vegas. And just knowing that those people probably still own the casinos, still own the nightclubs, still own the restaurants. And like, it's easy to get distracted. Stay focused, stay dialed in, stay on track of what needs to be done. And that's to get the win. I think, and I've said this on multiple platforms now over the last 2 days, is that I think he holds and carries the weight at 170 pounds better than Max will.
Agreed.
And if there's that, along with the punching power, he's got a chance. I give him in the first 2 rounds, he's got a chance. But if I am Max Holloway, I fight him extremely conservative in those first 2 rounds and realize that my punch output, my lateral movement, my mobility, all of those things are a problem for him as this fight goes on. I am the shark that has been swimming around in deep waters for the last 5 years, while you, my friend, have been in the kiddie pool. Okay, not knowing what you're doing, but you have not been in deep waters like I have in the last 5 years. We have never seen in any professional sport. I don't think so. Not that I can recall. Have we ever seen a professional athlete leave for 5 years, come back and pick up where they left off, or even be 50%, even be 80% of what they were?
No, I don't think so. But here's what I think makes that even more difficult, Josh, is that at least if we have, if you think about comebacks or whatever, at least like in other sports, you have a season. Like maybe you come back in your first game. Okay, now I remember the speed. Like, okay, it's coming back to me. Conor doesn't get that, right? He gets one night. Like, he doesn't get to settle in and, okay, well, that didn't go. I know what adjustments I need to make in practice this week so we're ready when we go back out there on Tuesday. You know what I mean? Like, no, he gets one night. But again, if anybody can show up on one night, it's Conor McGregor. This dude just delivers in the spotlight like no other. So that's the one thing. Because the part of me, I mean, listen, we're hardcore fight fans, and when this was initially booked, yes, I'm excited to have Conor back, but I was like, yeah, but come on. I mean, after 5 years away, like, what are we talking about here? Like, good for Paramount, good for the UFC. Like, there's a bunch of casual fans that are going to tune in, and that's always good. It's better. It's better when Conor McGregor is around our sport, right? Because more people are talking about it, more stories are getting told, more outlets are paying attention. So it's a good thing. And maybe more people will see Paddy Pimblett and BSD and other athletes around this card. So all that's good. But when I initially heard this fight and it was official, I'm just like, yeah, but 5 years away, like, what? But then you just start thinking about Conor, and it's like, man, if there's anybody that could show up on the night, it's that guy. He is that dude. So I'm with you though. I think if he doesn't get it done in the first 2 rounds, if he hasn't severely hurt Max Holloway over the first 10 minutes, like if you're a Conor fan, you're going to be sweating at that point because I think it's downhill from there.
Yeah. We all sit here and we think to ourselves like about the old Conor. And if you take a look at the betting odds, I just did a show with Angelo Bodetti, who runs We Want Picks, and I think they're live as well right now, currently with us on their channel. He said the betting odds have showed that everyone's starting to think that Conor's going to win, because it went from being basically 5-1 odds for Max when the fight was announced. Now it's down to 2-1.
Wow. That's a huge shift. Now,
that's a huge shift.
Now, listen, obviously we know with Conor McGregor, that means casual money, right? Like, I mean, a Conor McGregor fight is like a Super Bowl, right? Where like people that don't normally bet and don't normally put money on stuff will come do it because it's Conor McGregor. So I'm sure that's a lot of casual money, but it's got to be at least a little bit of sharps thinking that he really does have that chance and giving him an opportunity to win this fight. If I'm being honest, I lean closer to 5-1 than 2-1. If I'm being honest with you, like this is a tough assignment, man. Tough assignment.
It's tough. And look, and I'm no way am I trying to hate on Conor McGregor, because ultimately he's got the puncher's chance. How much will he kick with that leg? That's one. How much lateral movement will he have with that leg? We haven't seen that yet. So let's be realistic about this. I'm not trying to hate on it. I'm just trying to speak facts to all you guys that are listening, letting you guys know, like, hey, to be honest with you guys, his movement, his kicking will not be what it used to be. Okay. And you have to remember when he pieced up Eddie Alvarez, okay, it was the boxing. Yeah, it was the lateral movement. It was light on his toes, but it was a little bit of the inside kick, a little bit of the outside kick. And that sets up his straight left. That sets up all those things. He wants you to lunge and come in like Jose Aldo did so he can catch you with the one piece. He literally just was like, hey, as you come in, I'm so far out with my kicking, you've got to lunge in. And I'm so light on my toes, I can bounce out, bounce back in, and catch you on the chin. That's what happened with Jose Aldo. And then he did that to Eddie Alvarez. Will he have that same mobility? I'm not sure. I'm just not sure, man. I think I can't say he will. And especially at 170. Remember, those fights were at 145 and 155. Lighter, easier to move around, a lot less weight to carry, and to use that lateral movement. I feel like he's fallen in love with his power over the years. We saw that towards the end too when he fought Dustin. He thought he could stand directly in front of Dustin. He also thought he could stand directly in front of Khabib. He wasn't moving a lot when he fought Khabib. Let's not forget that. I was very surprised that he wasn't fighting Khabib the same way he fought Eddie Alvarez, light on his toes, bouncing around, like the in and out, in and out. He didn't fight him that way, which shocked me, because in my mind, I'm like, dude, that's the way you need to fight Khabib if you don't want to get taken down. And he decided to stand a little bit more directly in front of him, and that led to him getting dropped in the second round, or third round. In the third round, he got dropped. That's what led to that. And so is because he was a stationary target, easy to hit. Max Holloway is going to be faster than him. I don't think it's going to hit harder than him. Be faster than him. What concerns me about Max being at 170 is, will he carry the weight well enough to where will he fatigue as the fight goes on? That's a question I have, because he didn't look great when he went from 45 to 55 to fight Dustin Poirier the first time. And then he went back down to 45, had some six, and then struggled with Volk and, those type of things. Then came back up, put the weight on properly, and had a great performance against Justin Gaethje. Then he went back down to 45. Then he came back up and had some success again, and then lost as well. There's a lot of questions to be had about fighters that go up and down. You've got to put the weight on properly. John Jones spent a year and a half or something trying to put the weight on to fight Cyril Gane, which only needed about a minute worth of time, right? But he spent that time to put the weight on properly. He didn't look like he put it on properly, but he said he did.
No, I agree with you. The only thing that I would say is that if Max was fighting a true welterweight, a top contender right now, it would concern me, right? But he's facing a Conor McGregor that's coming off of a 5-year layup. And because of that, I'm not as concerned with, is that when you made John old right there?
Yeah. That's John McCarthy on the Joe Rogan podcast the first time.
Oh, that's great.
I have one of those apps that make people old. So I input his picture, and man, I did him dirty, because he did me dirty when I sent him a picture of me at the dentist. He did me dirty.
I love it. You got to get at each other. No, but you know what I'm saying though, because like I don't feel like if Max Holloway is going against a true welterweight who's going to push the pace, then I start going, dude, I don't know if this is going to work out late. But I don't feel like Conor McGregor is going to push the pace. I feel like he's going to have. I think he's going to be swinging big early, and I agree with you. Man, I almost hope that the coaching around him is saying, look, man, please do not try to tee up one shot. If you're walking at 170, man, if you're a welterweight now, that power is going to be there. Go back to what, because you said it, and it's so true. What made him so successful is like, I'm not trying to load up and throw one shot. I'm not trying to like Mark Hunt you, right? Like I'm just moving and touching and putting the combinations together, and the whole like, timing versus speed and accuracy over power. It was true. It was true. He was a master of all that. And I just don't see it. Now, man, he could have us all eating our words. That we could sit back next week and be like, oh my God, Conor is that dude. Can you believe what he came off the shelf and was able to do? He could, but I just don't see. It's just not something you see. And that's what makes this so challenging. It's just not something you see in combat sports.
Yeah. Master of the Universe says, Josh, food for thought. A lot of people said that Max hit a lot harder at 55. I wonder how that'll translate to 170. That's very true. You have a tendency to sometimes carry a little bit bigger of a punch going up in weight. Like Daniel Cormier, right? Couldn't crack an egg at light heavyweight.
Right.
As soon as he went to heavyweight, we had to bring in a couple different sparring partners because he knocked out 2 of his sparring partners. And it was on accident. It was just in exchanges. They got a new exchange. Boom, sat his partner to his butt. We're like, all right, you're done. New guy came in, like literally like, 2 sparring sessions later. Boom, sat him to his butt. All right, you're done too. Like we had to bring in people for him to train with. So it's sometimes going up. Like DC at 205 just did not have the same power that he had at heavyweight.
I think Max will hit harder at 170. So I do think he'll hit. I just don't think he'll hit as hard as Conor McGregor. Now we could see that wrong as well, but I just don't see it. But again, same thing with Max Holloway. And I don't think Max will fall victim to this, but I wouldn't fall in love with power at 170 and just be like, hey, let's just throw one shot. Like be the best boxer in the UFC, right? That's what got you to where you are. So keep putting those combinations together. Quit slipping, moving. Again, just staying out of trouble early on. And I like what you said. Wrestle early on. Even if that means you're clinching a little bit, even if that means there's some stalls and maybe the crowd's getting a little restless early, that's okay because you're just trying to sap that energy a little bit, right? Like wear down that tank and stay out of the early power.
Yeah, I was a guy that never had a lot of power. So what I would do is guys that I did fight that had power, like Jay-Z, Cavalcante, and those guys, I would actually try to get to the clinch because I knew that if I hung on them a little bit, at least in that first round, it would take a little bit of steam off their punches. Like they weren't as fast, and then I can see the punches coming a little bit quicker, sooner. And then also too, like they didn't have as much punching power because it was laboring. They were showing their shots, and it's the shots that you don't see are the ones that hurt you the most. So if I could see the shots coming, then I could brace for them, and I didn't have to worry about taking the damage. So I think if Max is smart, he does get in that clinch a little bit. He punches away into the clinch, kind of tries to like pummel with him, press him to the fence, do all those things. Maybe use your heel to kick the calf, kick the thigh, kick the ankle, see how that leg's holding up. Little things like that. I have a plate in my leg that I broke right after my first Gilbert fight, and I was out for 18 months. I broke it 3 times above the plate, and then I broke it again above where I broke it above the plate 3 times in 18 months. So that's what kept me out for so long. So by the time I fought Gilbert the second time, I'd been out for 18 months. And the reason being is I couldn't kick with my left leg anymore because I had a plate in it. I had a plate and 9 screws, and having that, you just cannot kick. Everyone's like, oh, it makes it stronger. That's bullshit. It actually makes it a lot weaker because it hurts you more than me. It hurts me more. It hurts me more than it hurts my opponent. It hurts so bad. I would kick someone's elbow. It literally would drop me in training. And I was sometimes wearing shin guards, and it would still hurt me to the point. Daniel Cormier's got one in his forearm that he actually had to have taken. I believe he had to taken out because he's like, if I don't check it right and it hits my forearm, he's like, it's more painful for me to take that kick on the forearm.
See, I think that's a great bit of insight and a big misconception because you're right. I have heard people like, guys, he's got a steel rod in his leg now. Like he's just going to swat that across the dome of Max Holloway and put him out. Like that's a weapon now. And I don't think people realize like, dude, that rod hurts you. Like it's painful inside.
It is because what happens is it actually pinches your skin and your nerves against that every time you make contact with it there. And it's just that, I don't know if you've ever been like pinched so bad that like almost like it's like a Charlie horse, but like a burning feeling. Hit your funny bone, you get that burning feeling down your hand. That's how it feels when you kick on there, except it's more excruciating where like you can't put any weight on it either. So for me, he's gonna have to work his way through a lot of adversity in this fight. I'm really surprised though, to be honest, what the game plan is for him. He gets what you have him fight Max let's just say he does win. Where do you go from here with him? And then if he loses, where do you go from here with him?
I mean, you're finding a way to have him compete for some kind of a belt, right? And then you got to re-sign him. I mean, if he wins, I think the first thing you do is you're going back as the UFC and you're trying to re-sign him. I would imagine, right? Because you don't want this man going and testing free agency and going somewhere else. You know he's got the ties to BKFC. You know he'd love to go compete over there. You know that MVP MMA and Netflix, they're going to come out and they're going to look to break the bank. You know what I mean? Because they don't care. It doesn't need to be hey, a dollar for dollar profit. Like, we're just trying to move the needle and have this amazing event. And nobody puts on bigger events than Conor McGregor. So I think if the UFC from their perspective, if he wins, I think the first thing they got to do is renegotiate his contract and try to get him into a new deal and not let him go free. So I think you try to get that done and put him in the biggest fight possible. I mean, you don't have much time left for Conor McGregor, even if it all goes well. Let's say, and again, we said it, it's an uphill battle, right? It's a challenge. It seems unlikely, but if for some reason he goes out and he delivers massive, you don't have a lot of time left with him. Maybe it's just those 2 fights. Maybe it's a couple. I mean, and that's if he's victorious. But I think the first thing the UFC would look to do is try to get him under a new deal so he doesn't walk and take his talent somewhere else.
Let's talk about who he fights if he wins. Give me some names.
I mean, Justin Gaethje's got to be wanting to have him there, but the problem there is there's no way Conor can get back down to 55. Right?
Oh, I think he can.
You think
he can? Yeah. Does he want to? I don't think so. But will he for the title at 155 and to fight Justin Gaethje, who is not going to wrestle, is going to stand? There's a good opportunity there.
I think so. That to me would be the fight to make. I don't know if you could just do the fight at 70 and have it be for something different. Put in a Conor belt or whatever the case may be. Then put the BMF title on the line, whatever. I think maybe he'd prefer to do it at 170, and then he could win a title in another weight class as well. And obviously that history didn't get made. Just when it looked like Alex Bejeda was going to take that away, it didn't get done. So maybe Conor McGregor can do that. He wants the biggest fight possible and the most. He wants to make history, right? Like, he's not trying to win titles and defend them, which to me is one of the reasons I always kind of knock on his career in terms of being one of the greatest ever, is because he didn't defend titles. But I think he's looking to do something like that. But I don't think he's fighting Islam Makhachev. I don't think he's fighting now. If Ian Gary got it done, I don't know that you don't feel particularly great about Ian Machado Gary's chances in Philadelphia, but if for some reason Islam Makhachev slips on a banana peel or something and Ian Machado Gary comes out, I mean, could you do the 2 Irishmen in a big European stadium type event and it's for a third weight class? That could be interesting.
Why are you putting it all on me? Like Islam Makhachev and slips on a banana peel. Like, it's all me that said it. You were on my bandwagon last weekend with Big John.
We know you're
shooting the same horn.
We know you're an Islam homer. You don't have to hide it, bro. It's okay. Just fly that flag in the air, baby. Islam.
Wow. You're just throwing it all on me right now. Let me pull up the sound bites here. You just...
Hey. I said it would be. Look, I'm picking Islam in the fight. I'm not picking Gary in that fight, but I do see a path to victory for him. Whereas I believe that your evaluation of that fight to date has basically been like, let's just go ahead and do the victory party. Let's just Ilia Taporia this thing out on Friday night. He's like, I'm going to Philadelphia and we're going to have the victory party the night before with the whole team. We're going to have a little red wine. We're going to.
That is not what I said. That is not what I said. I am not that guy. I do not celebrate before the fight because this is obviously the fight game, man. Anything can happen. And Ian Gary does scare me. I don't want to get too much into Ian Gary and Islam Makhachev, but he does scare me. The lateral movement, the speed, the length. Islam's never fought anyone, I don't believe, has fought anyone ever taller than him. This guy's 2 inches, 3 inches, maybe a little bit more than that, taller than him. Tall, long, lanky, very fast, very coordinated, very good at keeping range. I mean, he's a very dangerous fighter for Islam. Max, though, not Max, but Conor fighting Islam. Huge storyline, big time if you want to move this into spreading Paramount Plus overseas in other countries. I feel the same way about if he was to fight Justin Gaethje. It would be more Paramount in America, and you'd have the fight here. I think my least favorite fight, and this is no disrespect to Justin Gaethje, because if anyone deserves it, he deserves a fight with Conor McGregor. I would love to see that fight. But if I am Paramount Plus and I'm looking to spread Paramount Plus across the world, I'm looking at a couple names. I didn't even think about Ian Gary. Islam Makhachev, though, in terms of building new subscribers, that's a big time fight. I think that's probably number 3 on the list. I would say Justin Gaethje is last on the list in terms of building more subscribers. Okay. And then I would say Ilia Topuria being number 2. If you were to have him fight Ilia Topuria at 170, especially even if Conor comes off of a loss, they're both coming off losses, both coming off of catastrophic injuries. Ilia's got 2 broken orbitals. That being his return fight, knowing that wouldn't happen until like April, May next year, because Conor's already said my next fight is announced for next year. And the only reason why I'm thinking that they're announcing it for next year and they're making Conor wait is because they know that some of their TV rights deals expire. Paramount TV rights deals expire in those countries, and gives those countries an opportunity to re-sign or to sign Paramount Plus to be, like a paid platform or an app over there. I think right now they have to pay or something like that, like a pay-per-view amount to watch Paramount Plus over there. They don't have to do it now. They won't have to do it in 2027. So I think that's another reason why. The last guy I'm going to throw out there, and I've said this on a couple other shows, but I am a firm believer. You have a young guy who is very talented that the fans absolutely love in Paddy Pimblett. And if Paddy wins this fight and Conor wins this fight, you have Conor and Paddy fight on the last fight of his contract. That's huge for the UK market. Huge. The European market, the UK market, you could really dive into Paramount Plus, getting millions of new subscribers off of that fight. That is the fight to be able to, honestly, Paddy has the opportunity to take him down, submit him. Paddy cannot stand with him too long, but Paddy's got a chin and scowls us, don't get knocked out. So that is a huge fight. Now, I don't know if Paddy would take it, but to me, that is the fight to possibly make.
I think Paddy would take it. I think the question is, and again, maybe this boils down to, well, I would think that he'd want to fight for a title, knowing how Conor feels about championships and history and all that. But at the same time, obviously, if he fights for a title, he's going to have championship clauses in his contract, and he's going to be stuck there, right? Yeah. Exactly. So if he really is trying to go the free agent route, then, and I think it'll be telling when, win or lose, whoever he starts calling out and whatever he tries to do next, I think it'll be really telling as far as, what he wants to do. And look, if I'm Conor McGregor, I probably do want to test free agency, to be honest with you, because there could be a boatload of money out there for the biggest star in the history of the sport. The timing is impeccable right now with the entries into the market. So he probably does want to go the free agent route. And if that's the case, Paddy Pimblett would be the perfect fight, because it's a big name. All the things you said are true. It's a non-title fight, so you're not going to have to worry about an extension of your contract. So I like that. Otherwise, if you're going to fight at lightweight, otherwise I would assume it would be Justin Gaethje. But again, then you're going to have that contract extension. Stylistic, I do like the Ilia Topuria shout. I think that would be interesting. I'm sure I'm sure Conor would have a lot of fun noticing the odd similarities between some of their tattoos and I mean,
very strange, isn't it?
I mean, look, maybe they go to the same artist and they just happen to be on the wall. They picked out the same one on the wall. They're like, give me the C2 over there. I'll take that. I don't know, but I think Conor would have a field day with that. He would enjoy it. The other one, and again, it's not nearly as high profile, of course, but just another name to throw out there that would be fun. First of all, let's go ahead and keep Michael Chandler's name in the mix, just because I feel bad for the guy waiting for that fight forever. But I'll throw out Mauricio Hoofy too, right? Like that would just be fun. I mean, the guy that has like the stylistic similarities and kind of the new version, at least in terms of their fighting style, that would be fun. But I don't think that name carries obviously nearly as much weight as all the rest of us. And look, hey, I'll throw it out there too. And I know that I think you've kind of said, hey, I don't think the UFC would be interested in that fight right now. We know MVP would, though. Is the Nate Diaz trilogy. I feel like there's a big portion of the fan base that just wants to see the trilogy completed. And, I've been saying it for years. Like those dudes, I feel like could both be on 10-fight losing streaks each, and they get together and still sell a million pay-per-views. Now they don't even have to sell pay-per-views. They just have to be there. So you always have to at least have that name out there, regardless of where both of them are in their career.
Yeah, I've been told that the Michael Chandler fight is still very much being considered.
Poor guy.
I mean, no, it's not even so much being considered by Conor. It's just the UFC is like, hey, if Conor loses, this might be a good fight for them to. We put so much money into it already. We ran the Ultimate Fighter series on it. My only thing with that is that you may be sending Conor McGregor off with a win on his last fight of his contract. Now, locking him into a fight with Justin Gaethje or Islam Makhachev, for their last fight into a title fight, that would make sense. Because if I give you one, you have to fight me. You have to fight for me 2 or 3 more times.
Yep.
I doubt that Conor would do that, just to be honest. I honestly believe he wants to explore the open market. You never know. He seems like someone that, hey, he understands what Dana and the UFC has done, but it's also not owned by the same people.
Correct.
So that being said, I think he's like, look, I can explore the Netflix deal. I can explore other avenues that potentially can make me a lot of money.
Yeah, I agree. And it's tough, right? Because I mean, he's talked about it coming in, like the way his contract was set up before, he was a huge pay-per-view draw. So he made a huge bit of revenue, and that's not there anymore. Now you need kind of guarantees, and I'm sure they can tie in like incentives based on global viewership and impressions. And I mean, they can do all that. Obviously, there's smart people on both teams that can make it all happen. But yeah, I mean, if you were like, if Conor McGregor came to you and was like, Josh, I'm just looking for some advice right now. What do you think, man? Do I take the bird in the hand with the UFC, man? I mean, they're guaranteeing me this, or do I go out there and test it? I think you tell him to go out there and test it, right? Because he's going to command offers like nobody else in the history of the sport. MVP and Netflix. I mean, that's going to be huge. So, maybe Eddie Hearn just wants to get in there just to jack with, Dana White a little bit in the UFC. So, yeah, I mean, you just never know. You know what I mean? You just never know.
Can I ask you this? You think the Eddie Hearn thing and Dana, you think it's staged?
I don't think
I'm hearing a little bit of like, it's a little bit of a made up beef between the two. I mean, there's a backdoor kind of like, not agreement, but like they ultimately are going to end up working together.
That's interesting. Look, this is my take on it so far is, I don't think it's a total like work, right? But I'm not a big pro wrestling guy, but I love the phrase,
dude.
But I love the phrase like "don't work yourself into a shoot." You know what I mean? And like I kind of feel like that's what they're doing here, right? It's like me and Eddie, we're kind of buddies. A little jab here, a little jab here, and then all of a sudden somebody takes something a little personal. You know what I mean? It's like wait. So that's what I kind of think is that maybe it started in kind of good natured and like, yeah, I'm just messing with my guy over there, messing with my buddy. Now it's like, no. And let's be honest. I mean, Dana is a freak of a competitive human being, right? And the fact that he's getting into the boxing space, I mean, he wants to take over everything. And I'm sure, Eddie's got to be a little bit territorial about that. So yeah, I've heard some people say like, oh, this is all orchestrated. It's all made up. I don't think that. Like, I don't think they're having phone calls with each other and be like, hey, what's our writing team working on? Like, what should I say at the press conference this week to really get with you a little bit? But I think they might have kind of worked themselves into a shoot a little bit.
Yeah, we've kind of like everyone's kind of looked past Max Holloway. But what benefits does he get from this outside of just beating Conor McGregor?
It's tough, right? Because he's at such a unique point in his career, right? Like where does it elevate to? Like is another title run there? Is that what people want to see?
He beat Justin Gaethje and knocked him out. And he was winning 50-45 on the scorecards until he knocked him out.
I know.
So
I mean, look, if you beat Conor McGregor and if Justin Gaethje, wants it, I see how it could happen. You know what I mean? Like it's not out of the realm of possibility because nobody's going to complain. I mean, if Max Holloway gets announced in a light heavyweight title fight, nobody's going to complain about that. It's like, hey, that's Max Bless, baby. Like Bless Express, let's go. Put him wherever he wants. So nobody's going to complain. And so yeah, if that's what Justin Gaethje wants, man, absolutely put it together. But I don't know.
We talked about this last week, though. Like we're talking about Conor potentially getting a title shot against Justin Gaethje if he wins. We're talking about Max Holloway getting a title shot if he wins. We're talking about Conor fighting Islam Makhachev if he wins at 170. Like we're giving all these guys all these title shots, but the guy who's been waiting around for a year now is Arman Tsarukyan.
Bro. I mean, I feel bad for Arman Tsarukyan. I do. I really, really do. Because he's been the clear number one contender in the same way that, like, even more so, I guess, probably than like Mosar Evloev, who was sitting around forever and, having to wait for his opportunity. You feel bad when you see guys that you're just like, that's clearly the number one contender right now. Like, they deserve it. But
is he fighting Volk soon? Have they announced anything?
They haven't announced it, but I've heard that that's the next fight.
I hope it is. Like what are we doing?
I've been told that's the next fight. I don't know if it's
Good.
signed, still and delivered, but I've been told that he is finally getting a shot next, and that's the next fight. So, so I think that's coming for him. And look, I feel bad for Arman Tsarukyan. Arman has done a great job of keeping himself. Like, I feel like he's more popular now than ever. He's done a great job using Real American Freestyle, using his relationship with Nina Drama, using his own social media. He's done a great job. I feel like he's more popular now than ever. But he's not as popular as Max Holloway or Conor McGregor. I'll tell you that.
Ooh, yeah, because our fans, even though we love seeing him outside on like doing the Nina Drama and it's not Sneeko, who's the other guy, the Neon Kid like podcast, we'd like seeing him do all those things. That's great. That's building his brand. But we want to see him inside the cage. So we got to get you busy. Like I like watching him in Rough Wrestling. Like he's wrestling this weekend, and then he's wrestling the following weekend after. He's got 2 weekends.
He wrestles every weekend, doesn't he?
He's wrestling almost every weekend, making a ton of money. So those of you guys that don't know, I just dropped my interview with Kyle Dake yesterday. I got Kyle Snyder, Olympic gold medalist, on there. Kyle Dake, a 2-time bronze medalist. They are wrestling in Rough Wrestling coming up on July 11th. You guys check that out. It actually is going to happen the same day as Conor McGregor. I'm surprised they did that. But huge matchups. Those interviews are available on the Wayne In podcast. So check that out on the Wayne In YouTube channel. So should be fun, man. Should be fun. I think I'm
looking at his record. It's crazy. He is RAF 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like every single Rough Wrestling, like he's there, bro, man. It's crazy.
You're paying me $100,000 to wrestle. What do you think's gonna happen? You're paying me $100,000 to wrestle. I'm gonna wrestle every weekend.
He's like, Josh, like I'll wrestle twice, bro. Give me two opponents. So do I get paid for both of them?
Yeah, he's got a tough matchup coming up this weekend though. Who's he got? And then he's got Colby Covington, I think, the following weekend.
Yeah, I don't know the opponent that he has here. Quat Hamitov.
Good tough wrestler. Arman's got his hands full in that matchup. But in the following weekend, I think is Colby.
It is, Colby Covington, July 18th.
Yeah, man. And then you got Kyle Snyder wrestling Sadulayev, who they've wrestled, 5 times. Sadulayev's got 3 wins over him, and Kyle says 1 win. He's got 1 win on himself. He doesn't count the second win because it was a injury forfeit. So he's like, I don't count that. But yeah, ultimately, like, it's 3-2 right now, or 3-1, as Kyle would say. But look, that's a tough matchup. Great interview I did with Kyle Snyder, Olympic gold medalist. And obviously, and then you got Kyle Dake, 4 division champion, NC2A national champ in 4 different weight classes. That's insane. Absolutely insane. A 2-time bronze medalist in the Olympics. So check him out too. I mean, those interviews are great, man. Great interviews. I'm just trying to change it up on the channel.
Yeah, give some shine to the RAF, the wrestlers, man. I love that. It's such a great sport. It's cool to see them getting a little bit of love. And, obviously so much of the popularity is based around the UFC athletes, but hopefully when people are turning into the UFC athletes, they're seeing these other international wrestlers and realizing like, oh, wow, these guys are fun to watch compete. So I love what they're doing over there. Let me ask you. Go ahead. Oh, I was going to ask you. Well, I don't want to steer it away. You want to talk about wrestling? Because I want
I want to talk about wrestling because the reason why I want you guys to start following these guys is because they actually, both of them had thoughts of possibly going into MMA, but then Roth started, and then they started signing with Roth. They started seeing Roth was coming about, and they're like, I can make money doing this instead of going into fighting. Kyle Dake's like, look, I went to a fucking Ivy League school at Cornell. Why would I go get punched in the face when I can keep wrestling, be one of the best in the world at this? It made sense, right? And you got Kyle Snyder, Olympic gold medalist. You got like these things. Like, it just made me realize like these guys have all thought about coming off the wrestling mat and becoming fighters, and they decided not to because they're like, hey, Roth has actually opened up new doors for them to make money. So I love it. And Sean, you have Sean Brady wrestling Olympic gold medalist Jordan Burroughs.
I could not believe that announcement when it was made. Cool. Hey, look, I saw a lot of people taking shots at Sean. I didn't get that. Like, bro, respect to Sean for being willing to step in there against Jordan Burroughs, dude. Like, one of the best to ever do it. Like, the fact that you're willing to take that challenge on, to step out of your comfort zone and say, hell yeah, I'll challenge myself against JB. Like, I love it, man. I have mad respect for Sean Brady.
Exactly. I agree. Go ahead. Tell me what you're going to say.
So what I was going to ask you, if you were booking it, look, because you make a great point with Arman Tsarukyan, and I think he's the #1 contender out there. But if you're out there booking it, and again, this is not what's right. This is not what's deserved. This is you're running a business, and you know how to run a business. You know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get eyeballs. You're trying to generate revenue, all that. Let's say whether it's, and you could go on either way. Max Holloway has an amazing win, or Conor McGregor has an amazing win and says, I do want to fight for a title at 155. Let's assume both of them are saying whoever wins, they want a title shot at 155, and Justin Gaethje is more than willing to take on any of them. Mm-hmm. Would you book Arman Tsarukyan ahead of Max or Conor, or do you just admit the star power's there and you leave Arman hanging just a little bit longer?
I don't look at it as saying Max and Conor, the star power's there, and have them fight Justin Gaethje. I look at it, there's a bigger storyline for me for Arman Tsarukyan to fight Ilia Topuria. The two of them have had at it. They've had words. There's some little bit of back and forth on that. I would rather see, because Ilia Topuria hasn't fought a wrestler yet. Very much got criticized as much as like Conor McGregor did by not fighting a wrestler. And when he did fight a wrestler, he fought one on, 10 days notice when he fought Chad Mendes. Ilia's gotten that same type of critique. So I think if you were to say, hey, why don't we put Arman Tsarukyan against Ilia Topuria? That is a huge fight. We could sell that in Europe. We could sell that. Maybe we put that in Spain for his return fight. Maybe we do that. And then you still have Max and Justin Gaethje. You still have Conor and Justin Gaethje that I could sell to the public. Just like start thinking like how Conor was thinking. They never have me on UFC 200 or 300. Then you want to know why? Because they know 2 shows later I'll sell just as many pay-per-views. So thinking those type of terms. What are the biggest fights that I can make to get more subscribers for Paramount Plus? Let me put Arman versus Ilia, and then let me put Max or Conor versus Justin. It just makes sense. You
like that.
Yeah, you've got to think. Because I've hung around so much with Scott Coker, because I've been around the business for so long. I've worked with Scott Coker very closely in terms of sit-down conversations all the time with him. Not just him, but also, a lot of guys that did the matchmaking, Mike Kogan, Rich Chow. I'm just picking their brain, man. I want to know what they're thinking. I want to know the business side of it all, because I'm still learning myself, you guys. And just understanding what gets a matchmaker to tick the way he does, which was Rich Chow and Mike Kogan. And also, too, what gets the promoter to think a certain way, because they don't always agree, as you know.
Correct.
The promoter and the matchmaker don't always see eye to eye. Like Dana and Joe Silva, they didn't see eye to eye a lot. Let me just give you an example. Joe Silva didn't want to sign BJ Penn. Dana White and La Fertitta brothers said, we're signing him. That was the end of the argument. It's like, nope, he's not ready. And so that lets you know, like, that's back then, and they're still in this day and age where the promoter and the matchmaker don't always see eye to eye. And also, too, then you throw the TV network in, which Paramount Plus seems to just like, look, they've got a brand that's recognized. They know what they're doing. That's like the TV networks trying to tell the NFL what to do. Just not going to happen anymore. But when Strikeforce and when Elite XC were on Showtime tried to tell them what to do. And that ultimately was the downfall of the promotions, because Showtime tried to control everything. You have TV networks trying to control what the fight game is doing when they don't know how to run a fight promotion, whereas Scott Coker knew how to do it. So look, there's a lot to be said in that situation, but I think if you put your promoter hat on, you take Arman versus Ilia, or if Ilia doesn't want to fight at 55 anymore, you go Arman versus Patty. If Patty gets a win this weekend against BSD, Arman and Patty is the fight to make. Patty's a star, man. I would say he's above, if not equal, with Arman Tsarukyan now after Arman's been doing all this stuff. You make that fight, and then you make whoever wins the Conor and Max fight Justin, and now you've got a number 1 contender, clear-cut number 1, which was already Arman. But you have the clear-cut number 1 contender with Patty and Arman, and then you've got Max or Conor fighting Justin to see how that fight turns out.
Nah, I like the options. I think we all just agree that, Arman's probably going to have to fight one more time before he gets the chance to compete for the title.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's just the way it is, and it's the way it's going to work out. And let him know. I think he'll be up to the challenge. I mean, he is an absolutely incredibly skilled athlete. But you are right. And Patty, you're so right about Patty. I feel like people are finally coming around on Patty and not saying that he's just a hype job or he's just a haircut and an accent or whatever, but actually seeing the fighting skills that are there. But man, the draw to the casual fan that he has is incredible. And if he's able to turn in a great performance this weekend, with the shine that this card is going to get, man, it's all right. Because man, the camera loves Patty Pimblett, man. The microphone loves Patty Pimblett. Like, he is just the total package. If he can go out there and deliver with this platform, ooh, man, it's even going to another level.
All the Ilia Topuria and Justin Gaethje fight did was catapult his stock, Paddy Pimblett's stock, going like, hey, I didn't get finished. I didn't get two broken orbitals. Stouses don't get knocked out. Like, I'm sorry. All it did was catapult his star power even higher. The guy was already a star. I considered him a star. I loved everything he did with Molly McCann. And the two of them, they built up their reputation. They had some great fights during that time when Molly was still fighting with the UFC. And you can see that Paddy right now he didn't get the respect he deserved. But after that fight between Ilia and Justin, you're like, oh, Paddy is good. He's not just like a guy that has crazy hair, like, the bowl haircut and, and the accent and gets fat in between, fights. No, this guy can fight. He's tough. He's got a granite chin. He can take a lot of damage, and he can grapple. He can wrestle. Sure, he didn't get it done against Justin Gaethje. Not many guys get it done against Justin Gaethje. What are we talking about? Ilia Topuria didn't get it done. So what are we talking about? Paddy had some parts of that fight where he actually had kind of gave Justin some committed some damage on Justin. Justin got, I wouldn't say rocked, but you could tell that he was like on unstable legs for a second when he fought Paddy Pimblett. So I think Paddy is going to finally get the respect he deserves. But all that means nothing unless he gets it done this weekend.
And this is not an easy test, man. I like this fight a lot, man. This was a great co-main event. Benoit Saint Denis. I mean, how do you not love a dude who's just violent and he's the god of war? I mean, he's given us some great performances as well. So, man, I'm excited to hear that you're getting the Dean Thomas and Alan Choban breakdown. Obviously, those two guys, man, they study film, bro. They break it down. They are great minds in the game. And I'm interested to hear their breakdown because to me, this is a really, really intriguing and interesting fight with a lot of ramifications in it.
Absolutely. I mean, look, for me, BSD, I feel like he needs to sprawl and brawl, keep this thing on the feet.
I agree.
The problem in him doing that, though, is that Paddy's punches and kicks and stuff come from all different weird angles. If you're going to try to fight someone where things don't come from the normal type of kickboxing angles, you're going to have a hard time. So if he's going to take this fight anywhere, he's got to get to the takedown. He's got to get on top. I don't know. He may be able to take Paddy down, but Paddy's also dangerous off his back. But I think whoever ends up on top wins this fight. Both of them probably need to work on getting to the top position, trying to dominate the top position. BSD's got better ground and pound from the top position. He's got heavier hands than Paddy Pimblett. But Paddy Pimblett, I think, has got more attacks from his back as well as submission-wise from the top position. And on the feet, he's just funky. Yep. It's unorthodox, and it's very difficult when you have a traditional style of kickboxing or boxing to deal with somebody who throws punches from weird angles, and that's Paddy Pimblett. Like, things come when you're like, okay, what was that? That's not something you train for in the gym because that's not a common combination that someone throws, and Paddy does that a lot. So BSD's got his hands full, but I think whoever ends up on top in the grappling position is going to end up winning this fight.
I agree. And it's interesting because when you think about Saint Denis and how many submission wins he has in the course of his career, you might say, oh, but I don't think he wants to engage the grappling, especially early on, until maybe he has Paddy hurt, you know what I mean? And it wobbled a little bit. And then you go at it. But I think Paddy's a little bit slicker in terms of his grappling. So I don't think he wants to engage in that early.
Got it. Everybody I know, except for one idiot, his name is Angelo Budetti, okay, from We Want Picks. He's taking Mario Batista. Everybody else I know is taking Corey Sandhagen. Why do you think people are leaning towards Corey Sandhagen?
I mean, I think it's probably just the pedigree that he's had at the highest level. You know what I mean? It wasn't that long ago that Mario Batista had the setback against Umar Nurmagomedov. I think people really put no value, unfortunately, into the Patchy Mix victory. I just think Mario Batista is just kind of an under-respected guy, and he has been for a long time. And Corey Sandhagen's just been a little bit higher. He's been at that elite level competition, like hovering around title shots and number one contender fights and all that for a while. But I tell you what, man, Mario Batista is dangerous. So
he is dangerous, but I think people forget that Corey Sandhagen's already got a win over Mario Batista.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a win over him by armbar. This obviously was back in 2019, a long time ago, pre-COVID. I mean, it feels like a whole couple decades ago. That's how long ago it seems. But he's got a win over Mario Batista. Now, both of them are obviously a lot better since then. And I would say that Mario Batista's probably gained more so than Corey Sandhagen has.
That's what I was saying. The huge improvement on that side. Yeah, I think that's a totally different fighter.
Yeah, absolutely. A completely different fighter. So let's not get too much into that. But I'm saying mentally, though, what does that do? It's very difficult to beat the same guy twice. That's one. Two is that normally the guy who won the first fight 80% of the time wins the second fight.
Yeah, but this just seems to be the exception rather than the rule to me. You know what I mean? Like, you're talking about baby Mario Batista. You know what I mean? Like, barely getting into it. So I feel like he's progressed. Like you said, both guys have gotten better. But Corey, man, I mean, again, I think he's been at a high level his entire career, but I feel like Mario has grown like leaps and bounds since then. So I think a lot of the pick here, to be honest with you, is on name recognition more than anything, and pedigree recognition. And I think count Mario out at your own risk, man. Batista's a dangerous dude, and he doesn't give a damn about the critics. He doesn't give a damn about the odds. Like, that dude just loves to scrap, man.
How do you see, like, for me, I look at Corey Sandhagen. I love everything about him. Watching him, he's just a technician. If you guys watch some of his fight breakdowns, you guys watch some of the way that he breaks down techniques, like on his Instagram or on his own channels and stuff. Like, he's so mindful of like specific moves and just subtle movements, feints, foot here, outside leg here, like all those things make a huge difference. And it really captivates me on how he does such a great job of breaking it down. I can't imagine what it's like to be inside the cage with him, knowing like when he switches stances and then he switches back, you're like, okay, why did he do that? You start panicking, like, why is this guy doing this? Like, he's doing something, because you know how good he is in terms of on the feet, and he's a technician. The way that I think Mario Batista needs to beat him, and I've said this a couple times already in the last 24 hours, is that he needs to fight him the way that Merab fought Corey Sandhagen. He's got to press him hard to the fence. He's got to never give him any space, fight him in a phone booth, and make it a dirty, grimy fight. He's got to be overly aggressive, never give him any space to breathe, make him fight in that phone booth. Once he gives him too much space, Corey Sandhagen is going to be just too much of a technician. Okay, those tall, long, lanky guys have a hard time fighting guys in a phone booth because they're so long. So he's got to crush that distance. He's got to fight him in that phone booth. He's got to make it dirty and grimy. A lot of little pot shots in the face, make him cover up, look for the big shot, uppercut, look for something like that. I know you're the shorter fighter in Mario Batista, but you got to make it a dirty, grimy fight if you want to get this win over Corey Sandhagen, because the technique generally, I would say probably 8 out of 10 times, those guys end up winning the fight because they're technicians. But the way to beat those technicians is not allow them to get settled in front of you, not allow them to find their rhythm, and you make it a dirty, grimy fight. Like, just get after them. That's what Merab did to Corey. He didn't allow Corey to ever settle. He just kept pushing on him, kept trying to make him uncomfortable, never made him move backwards and try to strike going backwards. Let me just tell you how hard it is to strike going backwards. There's no power. You feel like you're rushed. You can't make the space to land the clean shot. And ultimately, you end up probably getting taken down. So Mario Batista, I think in the wrestling department, can get him down. But he's gonna have to do it in some of these exchanges. Because if you go back and watch the Umar Nurmagomedov fight, Corey stopped all of his takedowns up until round 3. If you recall that. And then Corey got tired, and Corey came out publicly and said, I have to change the way I fight. I can't be on my bike that much when you're fighting a good wrestler. So Corey is a new and improved person now, knowing that he can't be out there running around trying to avoid the takedown. Just like Sean O'Malley did with Merab. He got so tired, sticking to moving, that he ended up getting tired and got taken down and they got finished. That happens. So I think there's going to be a huge chess match between the two of them. And I think that Mario Batista's got to fight him in a phone booth. And I think Corey Sandhagen's got to keep his back off the mat, keep his back off the fence, and create space so he can use his length and his speed to his advantage.
Yeah, I think you laid it out perfectly. And I think that's what makes this fight so intriguing, though, right? Is if you need a guy that is willing to go fight in a phone booth, if you need a guy that's willing to get dirty and just go in, it's Mario Batista. Like, that dude's not afraid to get into a grimy type fight. And he's got a great team around him. MMA Lab, great minds over there in terms of, that will break down the film, that will break down the study, that will understand how we are best suited to win this fight and what we need to implement and to keep you in that, to not only develop a game plan through training camp, but to keep you making those adjustments along the way. So I agree. It's a chess match, right? And it's like Mario Batista's trying to play speed chess, right? And Corey Sandhagen's trying to set it up because you're right. He's such a great tactician on the outside. You just can't let him set those traps. If you can just keep it chaotic, keep him moving, not allow him to set those things, that's when you're going to have the most success. So I love this fight, man. I really do think it's a great fight and a meaningful one. And it's funny because I think there's a lot of really good fights on this card that kind of are floating under the radar, not getting the love that they deserve because, of course, the big story that everybody cares about is the return of Conor McGregor.
Yeah, I agree. Look, Brandon Royval's got to get any respect right now because Loney, I think it says Loner, but Loney Kavanaugh, he right now is a 3-1 favorite on the betting odds.
Is he really?
Yes.
Jeez, I had not. That shocks me, to be honest with you. I mean, I do get it though. That said, Loney Kavanaugh, I think, is phenomenal, right? Like, I know he has a loss to Charles Johnson, but man, he's a guy that from the first time I watched him fight, I'm like, this dude is fun, right? Like, he's exciting. The attitude that he carries, the style that he has in the cage, like, he's very, very good. He looks to me like he has the ability to have championship pedigree at some point in his career. Just the style that he has, the mindset that he has, it's all there. But that said, I mean, Brandon Royval, like, Raw Dog, anytime. I mean, first of all, one of the best walkout music in the game. You know what I mean? Like, you got to love that. And just his style, his attitude, the way he fights. I love anytime Royval is in the cage, sign me up. Obviously, great fight with Joshua Van. Not so great result against Manel Kape last time out. But I do understand Kavanaugh being the favorite. I'm surprised that it's that widespread because I think Raw Dog is competitive with anybody in the flyweight division.
I take it back. They've actually shortened him now, and you've got actually Brandon Royval is the slight favorite. So
that's
the 2
that's
days
the
ago,
power
I looked.
That's the power of weighing in right there. We start saying that it's wrong, and they they make the change right then.
Eating my words. But Loder Kavanaugh is a minus 218, and you got a plus 180 on Brandon Royval. Let me just say this. I think that Brandon Royval wins this fight. So I'm going to take the dog on this. And this has nothing to do with Loder Kavanaugh's ability to be a great fighter. It has to do with the experience. Brandon Royval is the type of fighter that's not going to give Kavanaugh a chance to settle in. And we have not seen Kavanaugh yet into a dog fight. And Brandon Royval is going to be one of those guys. He's going to make him fight a dog fight. He's done that with everyone. And you take a look at Brandon Royval's last fights. His last 2 fights, he fought Manel Kape, who just had a great win over Kyoji Horiguchi, and he fought the current champion Joshua Van. Okay, he gets knocked out by Manel Kape, which Kyoji Horiguchi just got knocked out as well, and then Joshua Van, who he lost in a decision. Great fight, by the way, probably fight of the year candidate, I would say.
Yep.
Tetsuya Taira, he gets a split decision win. Brandon Moreno gets a split decision win, and everyone's gonna go, hey, but. Brandon Moreno just lost to Loder Kavanaugh as well. Not the same style of fight. Brandon Moreno was kind of like sticking and moving, standing on the outside. He had success in that fight when he made it a dog fight. When he was making Kavanaugh fight like just this crazy fight where the technique goes out the door. And I just said this about what was the last fight we were just talking about? I just said this.
With Sandhagen and Batista?
Yeah, about Batista and Sandhagen, about how Batista has to make it a dogfight to get that guy who's a technician out of his own way. You've got to make him fight a fight he's not used to fighting, that he's not used to seeing in the gym. And I feel like Brandon Royval does that every single time he steps inside the cage. That becomes a dangerous fight. That becomes so difficult to deal with because the techniques are coming from different angles and the pace of the fight is so fast.
Yeah. Just has to be defensively responsible, right? Brandon Royval, I know that's not necessarily his number one strength. That's not what we love most about him. We like the chaos. We like the craziness that he throws out there, but he just has to be aware, right? Because Kavanaugh is a sharpshooter, right? I mean, he's accurate with counters. So, but I love it. I love this fight on paper too. Royval, to me, honestly, legit one of my favorite fighters in the UFC right now. Just the whole package, the way he fights, the attitude that he brings, the way he is on the mic. Like, I love him. But Kavanaugh, man, he's a kid that you definitely need to keep your eye on.
Yeah, you have to remember, like, he's young. He's 20, I think 24, something like that. Like, he's young still. This is a huge step up in competition for him. Like, oh, he fought Brandon Moreno. Yes, Brandon Moreno fought a very conservative fight. Almost like he fought not to lose. Where I don't think Brandon Royval gives 2 shits. He's out there to put on a show. And we saw it with Joshua Van. We saw it with Manel Kape. We've seen it with guys where he just does. His losses are to Pantoja, Joshua Van, who's the current champion, Pantoja, who's the former champion, and Manel Kape, who's probably fighting for the title next, unless Pantoja comes back.
Right.
Think about that. His 3 losses in the last couple of years. Those are the 3 guys he lost to. People keep trying to tell me he's washed. What are you talking about?
Nah.
He's not washed. He's lost to the best guys and he's beat the best guys. So I think in this fight, look, it's a huge step up for Kavanaugh. I think he's got a great opportunity to catapult himself into that conversation of I'm next, which I think would be a fantastic for a young kid like this to do it. He has the, if I'm a promoter, he's got a good look, very marketable. I see you shrug your head. Yeah, he's very marketable if I'm a promoter. He's good looking. He fights well. He's got good technique. You know, he's got a good fight IQ. He's got to learn a little bit, and I think that'll come a little bit of age. But this is a huge step up in competition because if he wins this fight, he's right there in that mix at like number 3, number 2, somewhere in there. So it's a step up.
Such a great division, man. You know what I mean? Like the flyweight division is so exciting, and I
who would have thought, right?
Dude, I'll tell you what, man. I've been from the beginning. Like when there was, they're talking about getting rid of the flyweight division. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? Like it's the most exciting division, man. It's so dynamic. Guys can do everything. You know what I mean? It's not one-dimensional fighters don't succeed at 125 pounds. So I love the flyweight division.
Yeah, like it's like 2 ferrets getting after it on the ground. Like they're so fast, so explosive. Like if some of them had a little bit more power, like Joshua Van's got power. Obviously, you got certain guys have power, but it's very rare. And those guys that have power, they tend to lean on it too much, where they get taken down, controlled, and get out grappled. They're just not as fast, whatever the situation may be. But the next fight, though, King Green and Terrence McKinney. I mean, we all know how this fight's going to go. Either Terrence McKinney's going to knock him out in the first round, or he's going to lose in the second round. We already have the outcome. Like that's how this fight's going to go. What is the beef between these two, though? Because Bobby King Green seems to like he's going all in on the paint on this guy. He's like, look, Terrence McKinney's trash. I'm better than him. Like he has nothing good to say about Terrence McKinney.
Yeah, it's like came out of nowhere. I didn't know they had any existing beef, and I've seen it all. Listen, I do think King Green kind of likes to hate the dude that's on the other side of the cage. Like I think that helps fuel him a little bit. He's a little bit old school like that, right? Where it's like, nah, man, as soon as you sign the paperwork to fight me, like you're my sworn enemy. Like it's no, I have a lot of respect for this man and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, bro, you're getting in a cage fight with me. I hate you. You're trying to take half my money and you're trying to take my physical well-being and my livelihood all at the same time. So I hate you. So I don't know if there's like a real, long-standing beef or more than just King. When he signs to fight you, you have now become his sworn mortal enemy, and he hates your guts until he gets done fighting you.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because when he fought me, he was super respectful. He even told me, he's like, bro, he's like, I looked up to you, man. Because I had him as a guest on the pod, and he's like, man, I looked up to you, man. He's like, I'm fighting a legend. He's like, this was fucking one of the coolest fights. So, and yeah, man, like he's always been really cool to me. And I love that type of personality because he looks the part, but when you actually get to know him, he's a good dude.
Oh, I love King Green. And look, I mean, just a genuine dude, right? Like, I mean, if you need someone like a genuine, honest dude that will just tell you like it is, like that's King Green. But then you add in all the other stuff, right? Like, it's a silly thing, but like I love his forward roll into the cage. Like I always think that's a cool entrance. You know what I mean? I love, obviously he's got the Diaz brothers influence on the walk-in where he's throwing his clothes and flexing and all, like, and then the way he fights, like it's not a generic style where he fights like, everybody was trained in the gym to make sure your hand positioning is right here, make sure your footwork is this, it's hands down and shoulder roll and talking trash. Like when you have unique characters like that, man, like you have to value them. And so I love the win streak that King Green is on. I love the fact that he's getting this shine right here, like a true OG of the game that it feels like is really like having this late career kind of resurrection and attention. And so I'm so happy for him this, but Terrence McKinney, that man is awfully dangerous over the course of the opening 5 minutes, right? Like this dude it's just crazy. His track record is insane. And I love Terrence McKinney too. You know what I mean? A guy that is just like, bro, we're just going in and we're throwing down and we're gonna see what happens.
Has he ever got out of the second round?
Like rarely. Look at this.
I don't think he's ever got out of the second round.
His last 8 fights, or 7, I guess. One was a grab. Have all ended in the first round. Like that's
in 2018, insane. April 28th, 2018. He went to the third round, and he landed a knee to win the fight. Then he lost his next one. He must have hurt his leg, so he hurt his leg in that fight. And then he goes on. He loses to Derek Minner, and he loses to Sean Woodson in rounds 1 and 2. And then he goes like all of his fights are all round 1. It's
insane.
From 2017. He's got round 1, round 1, round 1. Then he goes to round 3. Then he goes round 1, 1, 1, 1, round 2, round 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Hold on, 1, 1, 1, 1. Oh, sorry, 2, 2, and then 1, 1, and then 1, 1. Like that. It's all round 1. It's all round 1.
So
it's
nuts.
Crazy,
It's
man.
great. I loved it's his last fight too. I thought one of the coolest things ever was him fighting on the Michael Chiesa retirement fight, right? And they had that picture of him because like Chiesa had coached him in high school in wrestling or whatever, and then they're both fighting on the same card.
That's
and
awesome.
They've got this picture of him when he was in high school and Chiesa with his coach. I mean, the stuff like that's cool to me, man. Like full circle moments like that. I thought that was great. So look, Terrence is dangerous. Man, I'm cheering for a draw in this one because I love I love.
Sorry, man. I'm a Bobby King. I'm a King Green fan, so I'm going on him. Look, and this is one of those fights I would definitely not bet on because Terrence McKinney's got the power in his hands. He's the younger, more explosive guy. King Green obviously getting a little bit older. He has been knocked out, pretty bad in a couple times. But he's still a savage. Still going to come out, still going to stand. I think he will wrestle a little bit, especially early in this fight. I think he may wrestle a little bit to slow Terrence McKinney down and then get him open in the second, third round, trying to finish him there. But yeah, what do you feel about the disrespect that they're giving to Robert Whittaker? The main event on the prelims against Krylov. What do you feel? How do you feel about that?
It's a little weird. I mean, Whittaker's one of the true legends of the game, but I get it. You're trying to get some fresh faces. Like, I think part of the fact is at 205. And so how does this really impact the division? Maybe the UFC doesn't feel like this is really the place that he's going to continue to make an impact and where they see his career progressing at this point. And so, why feature kind of the old guard, especially if it's not necessarily where who knows? It sounds like he wants to, compete at 205 and see where it takes him and see if it gives him new opportunities. It is different because it was easier back in the day when the fights were like on free television and you put a featured prelim because you're trying to sell that pay-per-view. We're trying to have that last little bit where somebody's going, all right, damn it, you got me. I'm going to buy the pay-per-view. Now that that's not there anymore, I don't know that there's a strategy to the positioning like there used to be. So a little surprised to see it. I don't know if maybe the weight class has something to do with it, or maybe it's just a sign of, look, after a couple losses, maybe they feel like it's time to take a step back and feature some of these fresh faces and young guns up in these featured spots.
I would agree with that. I think also, too, this is a good fight for him to get his feet wet in that division. And I think, honestly, the sky's the limit for him in this division. It's a very weak division. His toughest fight probably doesn't come until he gets to Paulo Costa, all the way up there at like number 3 or 4 or something like that. I think he can have some success against Jamal Hill because he can wrestle. And then once you put that threat of wrestling there, I think he can have some success there. Khalil Roundtree poses a little bit of threat because he can anti-wrestle and he's got heavy hands. That makes for a very fun fight. I feel like they're very equivalent to each other, Khalil Roundtree and him. You got other fighters like Ozdemir is still around, still doing his thing. Dominic Reyes, huge for the weight. Huge. So there are guys that threaten him a little bit in here. Like you got Mirzakhanov, you've got, but there are some fun fights. Dustin Jacoby and him would be fun. That would be a good fight. I'm sorry, but I would love to see him fight Jan Blachowicz. Jan is 44 years old. Let's figure it out. Like you're either fighting or you're not. He hasn't fought in a while. Let's put him in there with Robert Whittaker and let's see if he belongs there. Get out there. Like let's see some kicks versus some boxing. Let's get out there and maybe a little bit of grappling. I don't know, but I want success for Robert Whittaker. He's 35 years old. I think he still has some left in the tank. We can still suck the last little bit of entertainment out of him. And I want to see him have some exciting fights. Is 3-0 too young to be in the UFC if your name is Gable Steveson?
Well, if you take out that part, if your name is Gable Steveson, I would say absolutely yes. At 3-0, you should not be looking to get into the UFC. You're still learning and getting better. And look, for Gable, I'm intrigued by this. Now, look, is this the matchup where Gable's going to get really tested? No. But it's not going to take long. There's not a lot of places to hide in the UFC's heavyweight division. I mean, I think there's only like 31 guys in the entire roster at the heavyweight division. So I'm intrigued by this because, look, Gable, as you know, man, I know you follow the wrestling world and you pay attention to it. Gable is a freak athlete, like a freak, unbelievable. The speed, the athleticism that he has at that size is absolutely unbelievable. But we still haven't seen him get punched squarely in the face yet. You know what I mean? And
he got kicked in the head.
He did get kicked in the head, but I mean, I don't know when he gets really tested, when he gets really pushed, where's the resolve at that point? And does at that point is he like, yeah, I really like this fighting thing? Like, I think there's a difference between a guy, and we've seen it over time, right? There's a difference between guys who are incredible athletes who decide that mixed martial arts is the best path for them to make money and support themselves in their life. And then there's dudes that deep down in their heart are just fighters, right?
Yeah.
That just like, they love it. They can't wait to get in there. They just are itching to go in there and throw down. And I don't know, is Gable that guy? I'm not sure. And I think we're going to see it. It's not going to take long. And so I do have high expectations, or at least I don't know if I have high expectations. I see the ceiling for Gable being championship level. There's no question about it. He is an A plus athlete, but especially in the heavyweight division. A, can you even take a punch? And B, do you decide you like it when it happens? And do you, do you fade a little bit? Do you go like, oh shit, I didn't like this? Or do you bite down on that mouthpiece? You're like, oh hell no, you got me. You're not getting enough. I don't know. We got to see that. I don't know that that's what we see on Saturday night. I don't think Gable's going to be like, Wilt in the spotlight. Like the dude's been in the spotlight his whole life. Like the big stage, how the camera is going to react. That ain't going to have anything to do on him. So I'm excited for this. Look, getting Gable Stevenson matchups on the regional level was going to be nearly impossible. So it just made sense. Like, you know what, man, let's just do this. Let's roll the dice. Let's get this experiment started and let's see how it's going to play out.
That's why they signed Cain Velasquez. Cain couldn't get fights anywhere. They're like, no, we had to send him over to Russia and Bodog to get him fights.
Bro, listen, at CFFC, because Gable wasn't signed anywhere, and so we're all big wrestling fans, and we were all like, hey man, we should, we talked to his team, like, hey, what do you think? Can maybe we get a fight? You start calling around looking for opponents, like, hey, what do you got going on August 14th? Oh no, I'm up. Who's the opponent? Gable Stevenson. Oh, did you say August 14th? Oh, I'm sorry. No,
I'm already
got
booked.
That thing. Yeah, the deal, with the I'm over that, man. But once that's done, hit me up. I'll be around. I
scheduled some food poisoning around that day. I don't know if I can make it.
Yeah. Oh man, no, I don't think I can be there. So it's impossible, and I get it. You know what I mean? That dude's on a different level, so I get it. But again, I'm not ready to do I do recognize how special this dude is as an athlete. I do, but I'm not willing to just hand him the UFC heavyweight title and say it's silly that he even has to go through this process because it's so clear that he is the next UFC heavyweight champion.
I understand exactly what you just said because I train with some of the best guys in the world, period. And you wouldn't believe how many times they thought they had fights booked and the opponents were like, nope. Not you. John Fitch was one of them. Nobody wanted to fight John Fitch. They're like, no, because if I win, cool, but it's not going to be great. And if I lose, I lost to John Fitch. Yep. There was that. And I don't want, everyone said they wanted to fight Habib. No one would sign the contract to fight Habib. Nobody. Okay. Nope. Cain Velasquez, everybody said no. Nope, not fighting him. The word got out about Cain Velasquez when he was fighting, when he fought in Strikeforce, fought in some. Word got out before he even had his first fight that he was beating up Paul Bonatello. He's beating up Mike Kyle. These guys have fought for the UFC title. Paul Bonatello had. He was beating up those guys. And he was beating up LeVar Johnson. He was beating up Andre Arlovsky came into the gym. He was beating him up. And everyone's like, that's a former UFC champion. What the fuck? Everybody knew about Cain before he even had his first fight. They're like, man, what's going on? He took a couple fights. And then after that, after 2-3 fights, no one would fight him. That was the MMO on him. So, yeah, man, I get it. I understand. Ellison from University of Missouri, Mark Ellison came in. Used to write. He had no success. National champ out of Missouri had no success against Cain Velasquez. None. Couldn't take him down. Couldn't hold him down. Couldn't do anything. Yeah, nothing.
Legend. Cain was the man. Prime Cain was unbelievable.
Yeah. Look, that is for me. Gable is. There's a lot still to prove. Let's slow play it. Let's just be honest how his contract worked. UFC signed him probably to a 4-fight deal. Said, hey, let's get you 4 fights. Let's kind of not handpick your opponents, but let's give you the Conor McGregor treatment. Guys that are mainly stand-up guys, probably like high school wrestling, maybe like JUCO or, Division III wrestling, guys that you could take down, but guys that don't have great striking, but you can still get it done. So I think that's kind of what they're going to do for the first 4 fights, build them up. Very much how they were talking about Bo Nickel building up in the Dana White Contender Series. And I'm like, look, we can't do anything else with you for now on. Let's get you in the UFC and let's just start getting you some more fights. A little bit higher level guys. That's what you're going to see with Gable. It's up to Gable to get it done, man. I think he's got all the attributes to do it. I've interviewed him at Bellator when he was there. He's not a big guy. People think he's some big heavyweight. He's tiny. He's actually like 5'10", 5'11". He's not a tall guy. He's thick, stout, shorter legs. And if you guys listen to my interview with Kyle Snyder, he talks about who he's wrestling next, Sadulayev. And Sadulayev's body type, he's got the short lower legs and the longer upper torso. Very difficult to wrestle, very difficult to compete against those type of fighters because they're so heavy hipped and they're hard to shoot on. You can't get them down. But what I did want to bring up though over this, and someone just talked about it, was Alejandro Gutierrez, is that there's already somebody trying to pick a fight with him. Who's trying to pick a fight with him? Who's trying to pick a fight with him right now in the heavyweight division? None other than Josh Hokic.
The dude that's trying to pick a fight with everybody.
Thanks for the $2 super chat. Oh, man. Alejandro Gutierrez. Imagine MSG 2026. Who wins? Hokic versus Stevenson. I mean, like, we got more. He needs more time. I think by the end of 2028, that's kind of more of a reality. The end of 2027, you'll start seeing more out of him. I wouldn't say anything just yet. I wouldn't.
No, I think from Hokic, that's a smart play, right? Let's get him early. You know what I mean? Like, let's get this dude early before he gets time to develop. It's like calling out Bo Nickel early in his career or whatever. It's like, dude, let's get this guy now before he has time to get better. Because I look, again, if Gable is committed to this and he is passionate about it, it's not just a job for him or whatever. His ceiling is incredibly high, but he's going to need time to develop. And you're right. I think the UFC and Mick Maynard, their guys are going to get signed off the street to fight Gable Stevenson. Like, it's just going to happen. It's like, I'll take that. Okay, wait, you're going to give me a 4-fight deal? I got to take that fight first, but I get 4 fights in the UFC? Like, okay, I'll do that. You know what I mean? I think they're going to do a little bit of that because they don't have to rush him right away.
Yeah, I'm gonna wrap up on the last couple fights here, but you got Cody Garbrandt. Where is he at in his career? You would know more, probably more so than I would. And he fighting Adrian Yanez, a very tough fight. But I think stylistically, though, both of them are kind of where they should be to fight each other.
Agreed. Yeah, Cody Garbrandt, I mean, look, he's closer to the end than he is the beginning. I know he still has a couple of fights left and believes he's still capable of competing at a high level. I know he's not ready to hang it up just yet, but I think even behind the scenes, he admits, hey, like this is starting to come to a close. But, I still command a nice paycheck. The fans still show up when he fights, and he still gets a lot of love. He still gets a lot of respect. It's almost like it kind of reminds me of watching like Andre Arlovski fights like late in his career. We just don't want to see him get clipped. You know what I mean? You just want to don't let him get clipped. Don't let him get clipped because he's a great athlete. Sounds like it's personal life. He's gone through some turmoil, but he's got that all together now. He's in a good place in his life. Yeah. I don't think there's a championship run left, but if he can still make a nice paycheck and face what should be a fun fight in a guy like Adrian Yanez, go for it. But it's a tough one for him, man. He just can't get clipped, man.
Do you look at him as a what if? And let me give you a reason why. I look at him as a what if because he had probably one of the single-handed best performances I've ever seen in my life against Dominic Cruz.
Yes.
So composed, out there breakdancing, doing this. Like, I was like, what in the fuck? I was watching that in New York City on New Year's Eve or the day before New Year's Eve with Chuck Liddell and a bunch of guys, out there. And he goes out and puts on that performance. Then he fights TJ Dillashaw, and he just fights stupid. And he has TJ hurt, rocked, almost finished him. Then he had him hurt again. I'm like, and then he just let the emotions get the better of him. And then he loses. Then he fights him again, does something very similar. And I'm thinking to myself, had you just won that first fight, you would have put it to rest. And then he would have fought somebody else. He wouldn't have fought TJ again. He would have fought somebody else. Instead, he fought TJ twice, 2 knockouts in a row. I think I look at him, I'm like, man, he was so good, so talented. And he let the emotions. That's why I've always said, like, fighters, do not fight angry. Don't fight emotional. You need to fight with your brain. Fight smart. Fight IQ is such an important thing in this game, man. So important. And staying composed, not letting your emotions get the better of you. Big John and I talk about this all the time. Fighters that start complaining to the ref about, oh, he's grabbing my glove, those guys end up losing. Oh, you need me in the nuts. Oh, like it's when you start complaining, the ref, he's grabbing my glove. He's grabbing my glove. Like, just keep fighting. I know it's hard, but keep fighting. Once you start trying to get the ref's attention, you're losing the fight.
Yep.
I just look at him as a what if. I look at him as a what if because had he won that first fight with TJ, we wouldn't have saw the TJ Dillashaw second fight, which led to another knockout. And he would have went on to fight somebody else. Probably would have got a win because the emotions wouldn't have been there as much. He was so fast with such power at that weight class was insane.
Yeah. Like you said, that fight against Dominic Cruz, I think that and then like the Conor fight against Eddie Alvarez are like two of the performances that people talk about as like the greatest single night championship performance, like just so complete. So you're right. Yeah, I think there is I mean, it's hard to say a what if on a guy that became a UFC champion and on a guy that has done well for himself because of his popularity. But you are right, because even though he attained the highest level of performance in our sport, it seems like he could have been one of the all-time greats had he kept it together during that stretch.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was something that just lingers in my mind every time I see his name on a fight card. And yeah, I always wonder what if, man, because it's been a rough road, a rocky road since his second fight. Look, I'm not going to skip through this. So I'm going to say that Tracy Cortez versus Colin Wang. Obviously, Tracy, will she wrestle? That's the question.
She's
going to need to.
Has to. Like, if she wrestles, she can be effective. If she doesn't and she gets stuck in the stand-up department, I don't think it's a great night for her. Not that she's, completely a fish out of water on the feet, but I just think there's levels in that department. If she wrestles, she wins this fight.
Yeah, that's one of those fights. And then like Luke Riley obviously is 13-0. Kai Kamaka, he's been around the block for a while, man. He's got a lot of fights under his belt. He just hasn't been able to really get it done in the UFC. But this is one of those fights that I feel like this would be like hey, I'm back if you can get it done against Luke Riley. Think you get it done?
Luke Riley's an exciting prospect. I favor him in this fight, but Kai Kamaka the matchmakers knew what they were doing here. First of all, Kai will fight anybody, like literally just does not care. And he'll do it in exciting fashion. So I think this is going to be a fun fight. I like Luke Riley in the fight, but Kai Kamaka is a dog. So he's going to be in there looking to scrap.
I would agree. Look, there's a couple fight announcements. I think if we lay out the schedule here, right, you've got obviously Conor and Max this weekend. You got DDP and Kamaru Usman on July 18th in Oklahoma. You've got Ankalaev versus Khalil Roundtree July 25th. And then August 1st is D-Rod. Is that Medic? He's fighting Medic, correct?
He is, yep.
Yeah, he's fighting Medic. That should be a fun fight.
It's a good fight.
Medic either gets knocked out in the first or he tries to knock you out as the fight goes on. Because he gets dropped in the first 30 seconds of every fight.
He does, and it's over in Serbia, so like obviously that's Euros' hometown, so it's a big opportunity for him. Obviously, the stadium's going to be there in sport. D-Rod's going to be the road game, but I like that one. It was a random matchup that you never thought of, but as soon as they put it together, you're like, okay, all right, I like that.
And then you got obviously August 15th. My boy Islam going to go out there, get it done. It's going to be a very tough fight, though. I want everyone to understand it's going to be a very tough fight. Very, very tough fight. Tough fight. And then you've got our man Fluffy, man, fighting RoboCop. Very tough fight for him as well. That is a very tough fight.
That is a very, very tough fight. I like that one too out in Sacramento as well. So, obviously he gets to shine there. So some great fights coming up, man. Schedule's going to be busy. August 15th. I'll be in Philly for the show. Are you going to come out there at all for UFC 330?
I'm going to try. I'm going to try to get out there. I'm going to be gone until August 1st in California. I'm going to do John's thing next week. And then we go out to California until August 1st. Actually, like it ends up being like July 28th. I got to be back here. My son's got to do a walkthrough in his new middle school. So we're doing that. So I got to get back for that. We got a couple super chats here. If Conor and Ian win, relax, Josh, hypothetical, says, could that set up Ian versus Conor in Dublin? Conor could win a third belt and then winner fight Islam.
Listen, as long as Conor is not hell-bent on being a free agent, I think that makes perfect sense, man, because I think it's a far more desirable matchup for Conor against Ian Machado Gary than it is against Islam Makhachev. Now, you said it earlier, man, the storyline and the history and all that, I mean, that would be massive, but I'm just talking about in terms of what happens inside the cage. I think Ian Machado Gary is a much more likable matchup. So I do think it's possible. If Ian Machado Gary wins and Conor isn't looking to get out of his contract and hit the free agent market, the chance to make history, Conor McGregor likes to make history. He likes to do things that have never been done before, etch his name into the books, and that would be a great opportunity to do it. And yeah, I don't know if they do it in Dublin, but at the very least, the O2 Arena in London, and if not, maybe a stadium somewhere.
Alejandro Gutierrez again. We got Madison Square Garden 2026. Who wins? Chimaev versus Bo Nickel. Sean versus Kamaru. I'm thinking Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland versus Kamaru Usman. Who wins?
So it has to be Sean Strickland, right? He's not talking about Sean Brady because Usman's going up. It's going up. Whoo, man, listen. I'd like to see Chimaev and Nickel. I know a little bit of the shine is off of Khamzat Chimaev, and maybe he doesn't have quite the excitement around him right now. But I mean, that stylistic matchup is still awfully fun, man. I'd really, really like to see that fight. I would seem to think that Chimaev has more weapons available to him in the grappling department. So I would probably lean towards Khamzat Chimaev. But I mean, I know Bo Nickel's been talking about that fight. I mean, they've been asked about that fight for years, and I'd love to see it happen. Maybe the timing is right. So that would be fun. And Strickland against Usman, I guess we're going to see, man. And we're going to learn a lot on July about where Usman stands at this point, right, man? I mean, we know that, physically, the knees, the body, the age, the toll, it's all been there. And Sean is a tough guy to grapple against. And I think that I don't think that Usman would be the better striker, maybe a little bit more power, but I don't think he'd have the volume. So I kind of like Sean Strickland in that matchup.
Kamaru Usman's got to get this fight under his belt though with DDP. I think DDP is he's rejuvenated, like he understands what went wrong. He's got to work on his wrestling. He can't take it for granted. I think he relied on his grappling. Like I've grappled 7 Gracie guys and beat all of them. Yeah, that's cool, but that's not MMA. And Chimaev went out there and out wrestled you pretty easily. I think he won on the scorecards, 50-44 in some of them. It was very dominant performance by Chimaev when he fought DDP. So Kamaru Usman's got to go out there and do something similar. If Kamaru gets it done, though, there's a good chance you may see the Chimaev and Usman fight again. Kamaru Usman fight again. Because I don't think anyone's ready to give Khamzat Chimaev the automatic rematch against Sean Strickland.
No. I don't think so either. I don't think there's a call for that.
And Chimaev versus Bo Nickel. I got to be honest. The only way that I see Bo Nickel losing that fight is by submission. In some sort of exchange, some sort of transition, Bo's wrestling and Chimaev's wrestling, he's able to catch Bo Nickel in a submission. I think on the feet, they're pretty equal. I think Bo's probably got more power than Chimaev. Chimaev's probably the better stand-up guy, but I think Bo Nickel's got more power. But neither one we haven't really seen do well in deep waters.
I agree.
So Bo Nickel, will he be able to stand that 5 rounds or 4 or 3 rounds, whatever it is, of an intense battle of wrestling and striking like Khamzat? And I've always contested that, look, either Khamzat was having some problems with his conditioning because of COVID, or he's overtrained. Now that I've seen him perform the way he did against DDP and the way I've seen him perform against Sean Strickland as the fight went on, he's overtrained. 100% he's overtrained. I've been in that position. I've been there inside those fights. Take a look at my my fight with the Hawaiian, not Hawaiian kid. He was Hawaiian. Oh man, good looking kid. Fought out of San Diego.
Nunes.
Yeah, KJ Nunes. Look at my fight with KJ Nunes. I was exhausted after round 1, but I kept going. But I had to go at a turtle's pace because had he been able to get up to his feet, I'd have been done. There's no way. I just was able to control him on the ground. That's the type of conditioning and like fatigue that you get. Everything feels so heavy. You can't lift your arms. You're all like, you're withered, man. There's nothing there. It's exhaustion. That's it. So that's what I saw with Khamzat Chimaev. So I think he's overtrained. I think a little bit of what Cub Swanson said about training with Sam Calavita. Look, it's okay to train that way. You just can't do it 3 days a week or 4 days a week. You can't do it. It's not physically possible. Your body's a Ferrari. You can't run into the wall 4 or 5 times a week. You got to dial it back, and do it before your day off. Do it like on a Friday where you just train hard on Friday night. You have Saturday off, or do it Saturday morning early. So you have all day Saturday, all day Sunday to rest and come in and do your work on Monday. So you've got to learn how to schedule that. And I think Chimaev will figure that out, hopefully. But and it's not a dig at Sam Calavita at all. So,
Josh, I've subscribed to that theory for a long time. I credit my longevity for not putting myself through those kind of sessions 3 or 4 times a week. So
this fucking guy, I love it. Drop down and give me 50. I fucking love it. Hey, I want everyone to recognize my man here, John Morgan, man, 2009 Journalist of the Year, JMO, my man. I want to give you a lot of credit. You were nominated multiple times. On that, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, all the way on up. So right there, You know, you got snubbed out a little bit. You know, I always thought you were better, but you know, I'm not going to say. But, but man, 2009 journalist, MMA journalist of the year. I got to give you my love. Some people that don't know you because, you know, they're not hardcores. Maybe they're just joining the show for the first time. I want to make sure they understand who they're talking to, who I'm talking to, and who's giving you the feedback. You know the ins and outs of this sport. You've been around it for a long period of time. You've interviewed me multiple times. You hated interviewing me, but it's all right. We've developed a friendship, work together now at CFFC, and man, I'm so happy that you're joining the show. I'm so happy that you've been on here. We've had a long enough platform now. It's been like a month and a half, 2 months now.
Yep.
You know, we're building this up. This will be our Tuesday night show. I think we're going to try to keep it around this 5:30 time, if we can, 5:36 p.m. time, because we've got Dana White Contender Series coming up, and I know you work those. And so I want to make sure that you have time to get there, give us that coverage, because I actually do want to start doing a show around Dana White Contender Series. So if I can get any feedback I can potentially from you, another avenue for us to get on here and talk shop and talk fights with all of our subscribers. So we're building this platform. I'm going to try to get this. You guys pay attention, hit that bell for notifications. I'm going to try and get Alan Jobon and Dean Thomas on tomorrow. See if we can get them both to agree to a certain time so we can talk this fight card as well and where they're at and what they know from behind the scenes. And we'll grow from there. So
look at the experts you're bringing in. You're building a squad, bro. You're building a roster. I'm
trying, man. We're working on it. It's a big deal. So we're working on that. You don't need awards, John. You are amazing. That's from Alejandro Gutierrez.
Thank you, Alejandro. I appreciate that, brother. Hey, I won the very first year that the World MMA Awards was around. I came in second place a lot, but they can't take away the first one. I was the originator. And by the way, I will say, World MMA Awards is tomorrow night, live on Rumble. So if you're wondering where they've been for a while, they kind of had to move some scheduling around, but it's tomorrow night. You can watch it live on Rumble. If you're in Las Vegas, you can go check it out at the Sahara Theater. Mm-hmm. And I think the great thing about this is it was delayed a bit, but now the World MMA Awards is going to get back to having a true calendar year. They got screwed up during COVID, and so every year it was what was the best highlight from July 1st of this year to June 30th of the next year. And that's a little bit confusing. So the World MMA Awards is back tomorrow night.
Yeah, I was invited to go to this year's awards, and I was like, yeah, I'm good. I've been invited every year. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I just want to keep covering the sport, do the best I possibly can. I also believe that you got screwed out of some of those awards those years because you never had your own personal show.
That's true. That is true.
And that goes a long way for people that are covering the sport, right? Having your own platform, getting yourself on a YouTube channel. Well, guess what? We're going to try to change that. So if you ever decide you want to get back in journalism, you let me know. I know it's nonstop. You never stop. I get it. Okay. But guess what? We're here to have some fun. We're building a good little unit here, and we're going to start adding some more talent to this roster and start doing some more shows. So we're going to have some fun, guys. And guys, thank you so much. And thanks for joining the platform, man. Good night. Another great night of fights, another great night of content and everything. And we're going to leave you guys with this. Saturday mornings used to mean coffee and sidelines. Now it's game time for all of us. We're running drills, chasing goals, and yeah, trying to keep up with each other. Soccer, lacrosse, doesn't matter. What matters is we're doing it together. But here's the thing I didn't expect. Training with your kids, it hits different. You sweat more, you push harder. If you're not careful, you could burn yourself out. That's why I started bringing Element. No sugar, no junk, just electrolytes. Sodium, potassium, magnesium. So you can stay sharp, stay moving, and stay in the game. Because when your kids look over and say, come on, Dad, keep up, you don't want to sit this one out. You want to be right there with them. Hydration isn't just about performance. It's about showing up. For them, for yourself, for moments like this. Element.
Stay salty.
We're out here, ladies.